All right, guys. Today we're going to continue talking about Japan and some of the activities that they undertook for leisure and enjoyment, and that are expressions of their culture during the Edo period. So we talked last time about some of the activities that took place in the floating world, right? That place where class distinctions didn't matter as much, and it was more about letting go of responsibility and enjoy and just finding simple enjoyment. And so some of those activities we talked about last time were sumo wrestling, kendo, and the almighty all cool woodblock prints. Today we're going to be looking at a couple of other important leisure activities, those being kabuki theater and the haiku poem. So kabuki theater actually started out in the early 1600s and was performed by female actors. However, the shogunate soon deemed that it was too provocative, too risque, for the female performers to be doing these activities and dancing and moving in this way. And so he actually banned performances by female performers. So as a result, people still wanted kabuki theater and kabuki shows. So as a result, the cast became all men. So they cast men in women's roles. And over the centuries, kabuki began to be taken more seriously and become more of an important part of Japanese culture. And it would talk about more serious topics rather than just silly or sensuous things. And so it grew to be enjoyed by more and more segments of the population. So more and more people started to enjoy it, including people from the lower classes. And so kabuki has actually continued to exist in this form today. So if you were to go to Japan, or I'm sure you might be able to find some groups elsewhere, but most likely you'd have to go to Japan, you'd be able to find kabuki theater performed by all male casts. The haiku. So the haiku is a form of a poem, and while it's based on earlier forms of poetry, the haiku itself gained a great deal of popularity during the Edo period, and I think that's a bit of a trend we're noticing. Things that are, kind of have roots maybe earlier, they evolve and they change a little bit, and they start to solidify in a very Japanese way during the Edo period. So, the haiku is a poem with a specific structure. Now, the first line always has 5 syllables, the second line has 7 syllables, and the third line has 5 syllables. That's the very specific form. Always 3 lines, and all those lines have very specific amounts of syllables. So haikus were often reflective or meditative, meaning that we look back on things in our life or things around us and the situations we're in about what's going on. So they were often very meditative, and they often focused on nature itself, right? Just being able to take in nature and enjoyment around. So here's a haiku on this page. An ocean voyage. As waves break over the bow, the sea welcomes me. Right? We have 5 syllables in the first, 7 in the second, and 5 in the third. So we're going to continue talking about this because this is forming part of what our assignment is today. So I need to remind you guys, or maybe I don't, but I'm going to anyways, what a syllable is. So a syllable is a specific sound portion of a word, right? It doesn't depend on how many letters, right? We could have like a 5-letter word and it's 1 syllable, and we could have, a 2-letter portion of a word and that's a syllable. Okay? It's kind of like the beat of the word if you were singing it. So if you're struggling to figure out how many syllables are in your word or in your line, try singing the words or word while clapping your hands to the beat. How many times you clap your hands should be how many syllables are in the word. So let's look over at this haiku over here. So I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna clap. So hopefully it sounds all right. So, Gary, unicorn, loves to hug and laugh and sing. What a special friend. So as I go through that, it's kind of like the natural breaks in the word and the letters, right? When we shift, what we could say in one breath almost, right? It's the beat. So if we look at the structure of this haiku, right, we have 5 syllables in the first, Gary, unicorn, 7 in the second, loves to hug and laugh and sing. See, every word in that second line is 1 syllable despite having different amounts of letters, because we can say each in like a single breath or a single portion of our speech. And then the third line, what a, those are each one syllable, special. See how there's kind of a break there when I special, right? It breaks it down into two, so that's two syllables. And then friend, one syllable. So again, 5 syllables in the first, 7 in the second, 5 in the third. So your guys' task today is to write a reflective haiku about how you are feeling regarding the upcoming summer and our current reality, right? That's going to change what our summer looks like. So your assignment is to be completed and handed in on Google Classroom. I will create a document there where you guys can complete and submit to me. All right. And just as a demonstration, I've come up with a haiku about our current situation in the summer and just kind of the way things are. It brightens early. The outdoors beckon to me. Where are my students? So that's my haiku for you guys. I look forward to reading yours. We'll talk soon.